So how do you start investing in commercial real estate without much capital? To be honest, it's pretty difficult. The way that I actually started doing it was I got my real estate license and I started looking for projects that I thought would be good investments. Now I would get a 3 to 4 to 6% commission on that deal, and I actually started rolling that into the investments along with my investors. They allowed me to do that with them. So that was really the easiest way for me to do that without much capital. Otherwise, some of the deals that we do take investors on, we'll take investments as low as about $25,000 depending on the size of the deal. So that's another way to get involved in investing in commercial real estate. One other thing that I've done in the past too is to earn your shares of equity just through work. So it's called sweat equity. I did that on the first project that I did. It was a 42-unit townhome development down in Bellevue, and I actually got my shares in that project by putting the deal together, overseeing it, and being essentially the asset manager and project manager during the process of the construction. So how much money is needed to get started in commercial real estate investing? It really depends on what kind of investments you're looking to make. You can make investments in other people's deals for $5,000, $10,000, $20,000. It just depends on how they decide to set it up. If you're looking to do deals by yourself, I would consider probably 20 to 25% down on the purchase price. So if you're looking to buy a $500,000 building, I would imagine you'll be in that $100,000 to $150,000 range. So why are people reluctant to invest in commercial real estate? I think that's a great question. It's because honestly, commercial real estate is so much more complicated and a little more foreign than residential real estate is for most people. Almost everybody in their lifetime will go through the home buying process, whereas very few people will ever buy a commercial building. Just because of the nature of the American dream and owning your own home, right? So I think that by demystifying commercial real estate and kind of explaining it further, that's really the best way to get into it, because in my opinion, commercial real estate investing is so much easier, more profitable, and better for your wealth building goals in the long run than residential real estate, just due to the fact that it's so passive. Tenants tend to sign longer term leases, and they'll pay your common area maintenance, taxes, insurance on the building, as well as personally guarantee those leases. So if their business ever fails, that person is personally liable to continue paying you rent. So what do I like better, office or industrial? I would have to say office, although industrial is performing, and has been for the last few years, phenomenally. With the rise of Amazon and all of these logistical hubs and e-shipping, warehousing is going to continue to grow as retail, tends to taper off. But, office in Nashville especially, that's kind of where I'm focusing my efforts right now, is mostly office and retail, but primarily Class C value add office, because Nashville has one of the lowest office vacancy rates in the entire country right now. And our office, rental rates have skyrocketed in the last few years. And even though we're delivering all these massive buildings downtown, they're all being pre-leased, or at least a significant amount of them are being pre-leased before they're even delivered to the market. And that just shows you how many companies are not only being started here in Nashville, but are also moving into the area. So I'm very bullish on the office space in Nashville for the next few years. Best advice for first years in the real estate market, I would say find somebody that knows what they're doing, not just somebody that seems like they know what they're doing, but someone that everybody kind of looks up to in that market. In your market, and ask them what you can do for them for free. Take them to coffee, buy them lunch, bring them their newspaper, meet them at their office in the morning. Do whatever you can do to get in front of that person and learn from them, because that was the most invaluable thing that I did when I got into the industry, was hang around as many developers and established brokers as I possibly could, because they've been in the market for years and they will tell you exactly what you need to know and don't need to know. You can only learn so much from reading a book or watching YouTube videos, but eventually you've got to get out there and do it. And there's nothing that really helps more than that when it comes to experience and the experience that they can share with you. How did I get started in commercial real estate? My story is actually a little bit different than most people's. I got very lucky. I had a boutique development firm reach out to me because they knew my background in sales, and they asked me to come be their in-house leasing agent. They didn't have one at the time, to handle a 57,000 square foot office building as well as a 150,000 square foot shopping center to manage the leasing, since they were 40% vacant. It actually paid for me to get my real estate license to do that. However, if you're interested in getting into commercial real estate, I think the best way is to go and get your license and start interviewing and meeting every single broker, every investor, every developer that you possibly can, because at the end of the day, commercial real estate is all about relationships. Your education doesn't matter. I know plenty of people who have 2 or 3 college degrees. I know plenty of people who have none. I think at the end of the day, really what it comes down to is who you know. because there are so many people that are vying for so few spots at these commercial real estate brokerages that it's just a very tough market. So if I had to give myself a piece of advice 5 years ago, I would tell myself to get out and network and meet as many people as I possibly could. Honestly, for the first 2 years of my career, I kind of just focused on those 2 office buildings, or that office building in the shopping center that I was given, and didn't really network with anybody, didn't meet anyone, and so that was the only business that I had. However, once I had stabilized those 2 assets, I pretty much worked myself out of a job. There was nothing else for me to go and lease. So, the 3rd year is when I tripled my income, because I got out and met everyone that I possibly could and started working on, how can I bring other people value? And that's when I started listing, properties for other landlords. I started representing businesses looking for space. I ended up putting my own development deal together. So that is the one piece of advice I would give myself 5 years ago, which would be a year ahead of when I started networking, was get out and network now. So with Amazon and all of these other large offices that are moving to Nashville, you got AllianceBernstein, which is a Wall Street giant that's, that kind of shook the office industry in Nashville when they announced they were moving off of Wall Street to Nashville. Over the next few years, I see this market continuing to be tight and grow exponentially, because there are so many people from other cities that are moving here. And now with Ernst & Young and Apple Music and all of these other groups that have announced, those are of course big announcements, but think about all of the ancillary businesses that will look at Nashville now that want to come serve those industries. So I think that we're going to continue to see an influx of businesses in Nashville over the next few years. So that's it for our Wednesday update. If you ever have any questions on commercial real estate, feel free to reach out to me directly on my website or my socials below. Yes.